You're live.
Good morning. Welcome to OpenWorks annual State of the Space. This is usually a meeting, but this time it's just an address, a live stream. We are really sad that we can't be doing this in person, but with the current state of COVID, we felt like it'd be safer to do it this way. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to use the chat, and we will address questions and comments when we get through the end of our presentation here. So before we get started today, we will start with a land acknowledgement. This land acknowledgement was prepared by the University of Maryland Writing Center. We would like to acknowledge Indigenous peoples past, present, and future as the rightful and traditional protectors and caretakers of their native lands in what is now known today as the United States. We recognize that we are part of that our digital and non-digital spaces participate in the historical, ongoing, and violent legacy and land theft initiated by white colonialist settlers who first invaded the Chesapeake region in the 17th century. Specifically, we operate on the ancestral lands of the Iroquoian-speaking Susquehannock people and Algonquin-speaking people of the Cedarville Band of the Piscataway Conoy, the Piscataway Indian Nation, and the Piscataway Conoy tribe, all of whom shared this area through their relations and whose descendants are thriving and resisting settler occupation. We also acknowledge our complicity in the historical, deliberate, and ongoing attempts by settlers and their systems of oppression to appropriate Indigenous cultures, ignore or break treaties with sovereign Native nations, and perpetrate and obfuscate racist and violent acts of political, social, economic, and ecological white supremacy. We further acknowledge the fundamental role that these colonialist acts play and continue to play on the historical and contemporary disenfranchisement, surveillance, and harm of Black Americans. Recognizing these intertwining injustices, this land acknowledges serves as an opening to contemplate the continuing resistance to colonial indoctrination through various Indigenous and Black movements for identity, freedom, and self-determination. We commit ourselves to learning to end anti-Black racism, modern colonialism, and white supremacy, and to creating equitable relations that honor and heal communities and the land. We further advocate for the ecological and relational, social, and political restoration of healing through the return of Native and Indigenous lands to their sovereign right for stewards. Again, we share this land acknowledgement that was prepared by the University of Maryland Writing Center. Thank you. So we'll get started today with an address from our Executive Director, Will Holman.
Great. Thank you, April, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. My name is Will Holman, and I'm the Executive Director here at OpenWorks. So, advance the slide here. It's not going forward. There we go. All right, so the state of the space is strong. The last 2 years have been incredibly challenging for OpenWorks and many other community-based nonprofits, especially ones that are here to serve small business owners, startups, artists, and other folks on their journey to independence. So as of June 2nd, yesterday, we have 122 monthly members. That's roughly double the membership that we started with when we fully reopened last July. And that represents a pretty strong trajectory going forward. Keep in mind, pre-pandemic, we had about 300 members, so we've still got a little work to do. Our studio occupancy rate is almost 80%. So if you or someone you know is looking for studio space for their arts practice or small business, hop on that opportunity now. And then we've had a little over 550 adult class enrollments year to date, which is really exciting. That's back to pre-pandemic levels of activity. We're also starting to relaunch some of our programs. So last October, we relaunched Senior Foundations and Teen Maker Shop. And this summer, we're really excited to bring back our half-day summer camps. We have 5 weeks on offer. We are also hosting a 6th week by our members, Global Air Media, for their drone camp experience. So these are pretty well enrolled already, but if you have a young person looking for something to do, we still have a few spots left. Give the front desk a call. And then last, we're expanding into 2 new programs this year we're really excited about. First, in partnership with the Mayor's Office of Employment Development, Made in Baltimore and SoLab USA, we kicked off the Baltimore Sewn Trades Training Program at the beginning of April. That cohort is now 2/3 finished, and at the end of this month, we'll be graduating 7 apprentice sewists that will then move on to one of 38 companies in the Baltimore area that have signed on to our employer coalition. Right now, we are interviewing candidates for our second workforce development program, the Makers Unite CAD CNC Technician Training Program. This is a 12-week intensive program that teaches Autodesk Fusion 360, as well as some of the digital output tools like CNC routing and laser cutting that work well with that program. We'll graduate that first class of technicians in September. Right, come on, remote. So a couple updates on policies and procedures around this space. First, COVID-19, the elephant in the room. I want to start by thanking our members, our class enrollees, our participants of all kinds for being conscientious community members. Through the entire period of the pandemic, we haven't had a single outbreak or case associated with OpenWorks. And that is due to adherence to policies. People are wearing masks, people are getting their vaccine, and people are taking care of one another by staying home when they're sick. Now, we've certainly had a bunch of COVID-19 outbreaks, unfortunately, roll through staff and members, but that's all happened independent of OpenWorks. I myself had it in early May and can tell you that it's no joke, even with a vaccine. So please, if you haven't gotten your vaccine, go and get it. Remember, masks are still required in shops and during classes. And we will revisit these policies once a month based on the facts on the ground. And hopefully we'll be able to readjust them at some point in the future. Some exciting news to share is upcoming facility improvements. You may have noticed a few of them getting underway already late last year and ongoing right now. So first off, our former electronics lab between 3D printing and textiles is being converted to digital textiles. This will include a brand new Bernina Q-Matic digital CNC quilting machine that can accommodate a quilt up to 10 feet wide and nearly infinite length. That machine is installed, debugged, running, and we hope to have the first safety and certification class launched in July. And that will be in partnership with Domesticity Studio over in Hamilton, Lauraville. There will also be a new direct garment printer and a second Melco embroidery machine and some other things that we've ordered but have not come in yet. Next, just yesterday, we found out we got a large grant from the Middendorf Foundation to completely renovate our computer lab and IT infrastructure. We're super excited to upgrade those machines, which are now almost 6 years old, so that we can run the latest graphics and 3D modeling software. Zach will talk a little bit more about this later, but we also have some outdoor improvements. You may have noticed the new pollinator and native plant garden. We have a takeaway window coming to the cafe, so you can order off the street. And then we just got a brand new copy machine. We have a second printer and copy machine that is in the member area. And we are just on a wait list for the technician to come out and fully install a new software platform called PaperCut that will allow members to print to our machines from anywhere, even if you're not on site. It's a web-based interface. So we're really excited to kind of streamline that process and not have to go through the front desk anymore. And then last thing I wanted to touch base on with our membership today is a strategic plan. So as I mentioned, OpenWorks is rounding the corner on our 5th year, and we will turn 6 years old in September. Now, 1/3 of that 6 years has been under pandemic conditions that have been unusual for everyone. And our board has voted to undertake a strategic planning process this year. That really kicked off last month with a number of subcommittee meetings with the board of directors. And then we'll be formally voting kind of the framework for a planning process forward at the end of this month. What does that mean for you? Well, a couple of things. First off, why are we doing this? Well, every organization needs a roadmap for the future. And 3 to 5 years is kind of the cycle that most organizations work on. As a startup, plus the pandemic, we got a little behind the 8 ball. We had hoped to undertake this last year during our 5th year, but we're going forward now. And that's really to examine our programs, our policies, our business operations, our customer satisfaction, and our goals by interviewing and canvassing our entire community. That includes staff, members, folks who take classes, community partners, and other organizations that we work with. So what will it accomplish? It's going to lay out a vision for the next 5 years of OpenWorks continued growth and success. This includes some potential expansion opportunities related to the passage of SB 453, a bill that we championed before the General Assembly earlier this year that provides a large appropriation to build more maker spaces in Maryland on the OpenWorks model. So who is involved? As I mentioned, there's a wide range of stakeholders that will be engaging through this process from now through the end of the year. And we ask that all of you participate. Your feedback is the most important part of crafting our future. So right now, the community survey is up and live. April will be talking a little bit more about that in a minute. And then there will be some targeted opportunities in the fall to participate in some focus groups and other conversations so that you can offer feedback that's more detailed. So we look forward to engaging with you on all those topics. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to April for membership updates.
Thank you, Will. Cool. All right, so membership updates. As Will mentioned, we have rolled out our community survey. You may have seen a link to that in the newsletter or in a flyer that has been dropped in your studio. We'll be definitely bugging you guys to participate or encouraging you all to participate via email and on social media in the coming weeks. The survey is going to be open until the end of June. My office door is always open. We're always happy to hear your questions, concerns, comments, feedback. But this opportunity is the formal way to sort of submit anything that you would like to see different about the space, or if you want to give us kudos about things that are going well in the space, this is the time to do it. We really want to be able to have an opportunity to look at all of this information or data that is collected from you all together so that we can try and identify any trends and help to determine which would be the best things to take action on more quickly. So again, the survey is going to be closing on June 30th. So please, it takes about 10 minutes max to fill out the survey. We would love to hear from you and get your feedback. And what's, who loves participating in a survey? No one really, right? So we hope to sweeten it. We're going to be doing a weekly raffle. If you've already completed the survey, your name will go into the hat already. But as folks put their name into the hat, we'll be picking one person who's completed the survey each week to win some OpenWorks swag. And hopefully, so please, if you have 10 minutes to spare, we'd really appreciate you taking the time to fill out that survey. One of the things that we loved to do pre-pandemic was have pop-up shops. And now that the weather is finally warm, we're still not going to be doing things like that indoors, but it's warm enough now that we want to pull some things outside. So last year, we had our community yard sale. This will actually be our third community yard sale. It's always been a huge hit. The application to apply to vend in that will be rolling out, and over the next couple of days, you'll see information about how to sign up on social media and our newsletter and all that good stuff. The community yard sale is really cool because we want to encourage you to sell your new things that you've made here, but also if you have prototypes, materials that didn't work out, this is the opportunity to offload them. And people are very excited about shopping the things that like maybe you don't need anymore. So with this, there'll be a preview site where people can go and see all the things that will be uploaded. So if you do plan to apply, do that early, take some photos of your things so that we can draw people out. Last year, it went really well for lots of folks that participated in it. Also, at the end of the summer / potentially early fall, we're going to bring back our youth vending opportunities. We usually do a back to school pop-up shop. So if you know any youth entrepreneurs who are making things, they can spend their summer fabricating things to sell. And the application information about that will be coming out soon. But just planning end of summer, early fall, back to school time is when we plan to do that again this year. So membership, when we reopened to the public in July of last year, sort of like fully reopened, we rolled out new membership pricing. If you haven't had an opportunity to come back, we've reduced the price of membership to give you access to all the shops to $80 a month. There's a little discount if you're a resident member and have a studio here. And want to also have a membership that gives you access to the shops. But we're really excited about a new membership option that we piloted earlier this year that runs sort of concurrent with our senior foundations classes. So if you sign up for a senior foundations class, you will get a free month of membership so that you can come back and use the shops at OpenWorks on the days that you don't have classes throughout the month of this 4-week class. The only caveat to that is in order to get a key to be able to access the space, you'll have to sign up for community orientation, which is free. And we offer those twice a week. So if you get a seat in our senior foundations classes, again, you take community orientation so you can take advantage of a full month of membership included with the cost of your class. And lastly, as Will mentioned before, our community is growing again post-COVID. But really, I think that the thing that makes the place that we show up to work feel really good is when we know that we have people around us that we like to work with and that we want to collaborate and things like that. So I'd love to encourage you to spread the word about OpenWorks and your time here, how you use the space, how much it is valuable to you, to your other maker and entrepreneur community members. We would love to have them here and make space for them in our community. Another thing that we'd love to ask of our members, if you haven't done so already, leave us a review on Google to let folks that maybe don't know you know how you've found value in the space here at OpenWorks. All right. And I'm going to hand this back to Will. Laura, our Director of Education, is not able to be here today. So Will's going to give an update on education.
All right. Hello again, everyone. And just to piggyback on what April said, Laura is staying home today because she has COVID-like symptoms. So we're trying to model best behavior for our membership community with the way that our staff tackles these problems. So a couple programs that we wanted to highlight in more detail. So I already mentioned the workforce development programs that we currently have underway, but looking forward, our Zone Trades training program is a 2-year contract with the city. So we're fortunate to be able to offer 3 more cohorts with 8 seats each. The next one will launch right after Labor Day, so we'll be making applications available towards the end of the summer. around the second week of August. So keep an eye on our social channels, our website, and our newsletter for when that application drops. If you want to get on our mailing list specifically for it, you can always just email our front desk. As I mentioned, the CNC CAD training program will start in mid-June, wrap up in September, and then we will be launching a second cohort of that early in the new year as well. New safety classes coming up for our digital textiles room. Very excited about that. As I mentioned, we have a Bernina Q-matic quilting machine. So what that looks like is two long parallel rollers that you can wind a quilt on, and then you can program a stitching pattern for it. However, you don't have to. You can also move it manually, and it operates like a long arm quilting machine in a traditional sense. Because of that, we're going to be offering a 2-tier safety class. The first 3-hour class, Digital Quilting 1 or Quilting Machine 1, will be an introduction to the manual and basic operation of the machine. And then Quilting Machine 2 is the digital skills, where you can learn how to program the stitch pattern. You only need to take the intro class to get signed off to use that machine. Similar to our CNC routers, laser cutters, and the embroidery machine, the quilting machine will require reservations to use and will have multi-hour blocks. It takes a significant amount of time to set up your quilt on the machine and then use it, and we want to be conscious that people have enough time to make meaningful use of the machine. The second machine that's going to require new training in that machine is a direct garment printer that we are getting from Epson. It's a really cool machine. It's kind of magical. You stretch a t-shirt or a hoodie over a frame, slide it into a drawer, and you can print a full color image directly on the fabric. Put it in a heat press and you're good to go. No silk screening, no water, no mess. And you can do really highly detailed, crisp images. So we'll be rolling that out hopefully in late July as well. It will not be a full 3-hour class likely because it's a little simpler to operate. We will also be making thermal transfers available. So the same printing technology can print to thermal transfers that you can put on coffee mugs, glasses. You can also put it on fabric and put it in the heat press. So the thermal transfer will be part of that class or a standalone, depending, once we learn a little more about the process. But we're really excited to expand the kind of craft and small business possibilities here. Next. So we're also really excited to be bringing back YouthWorks interns this summer. Prior to the pandemic, we would have between 4 and 8 teenagers in the building every summer for a multi-week cafeteria-style curriculum, moving through all different areas of the building. So starting in late June, we will have our first class of YouthWorks participants since the pandemic back in the building. Be sure to say hi. They'll be working a little bit in the shops, a little bit at the front desk, and you'll see them around the building. And then I already mentioned the half-day summer camps. We have 5 weeks under the OpenWorks kind of control, and then 1 week with our partners and members at Global Air Media. You can check out registration options on our website at openworksbmore.org. All right, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Zach Adams, our Contract Services Manager.
Hey there, everyone. My name is Zach. I manage the Contract Services Department. When we're talking about the state of the space, I like to talk a little bit about some improvements that we've made outdoors and then talk a little bit about some of our current projects. So if you come into OpenWorks, you can see the shade sails and picnic tables that we've had there. We're planning a little bit of expansion in that department. Going to increase it to 4 shade sails to kind of continue down our little wedge of concrete that we have over there. We've also added a pollinator garden made from wood that we got from our partner Camp Small. This is all fallen lumber that has fallen in Baltimore City and now reused to make new gardens and new plants in our city here. let's see. We're also going to have a cafe takeout window in our cafe Black Acres. We're expecting that to be coming in mid-July sometime. So we'll have a window to pick up coffee and snacks on your way. Let's see here. We'll go to the next slide here. All right, a couple of recent projects that we wanted to highlight. The first one here is a sign that we made for the National Arboretum. This is in Spanish cedar. This just kind of highlights some of the technology and the capabilities of the machines that we have here. We are also looking at a aluminum milled sign that we made for a local artist named Rosa Leff. This white piece probably took about 15 hours of continuous milling, and we're really proud of it. It's powder coated in white and placed outside the residence for the customer. These are also some CNC furniture pieces that are kind of the equivalent of point and shoot, download and print, in a sense, with a company called Better Block and Wikiblocks. And then we're also highlighting the first use of our 4th axis machine on a contract job, where we worked with CL McCoy Framing and Rebuild Baltimore to restore a cornice, the top of a building of a row house that's basically about 100 years old. So we're looking forward to working with a couple more projects with them and building up more things. If you are interested in learning more about this, take some classes at OpenWorks, apply to become a contract services tech. We are hiring 2 people coming up or coming for membership. And I think we're now going to open up for questions and answers. I'll hand it back to April.
Thank you, Zach. All right, so we are going to open up the space for questions. So if you have any questions or comments about anything that we talked about, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll keep this open. We'll give you all a few minutes. I see that we've got some viewers watching. So feel free to use the chat section and we can address your questions. If you don't have anything pressing right now, or you might be watching this recording later, if you still feel free to leave questions or comments in the chat, and we'll be watching the comment section and replying throughout the week as things come in. Okay, so we've got from Poppy and Fernando, when will the certification classes start for the quilting machine?
Hopefully the last week of July.
Will says, hopefully the last week of July. All right. Anybody got any good jokes?
I have a question, April.
Yes.
Are there any plans to expand hours later this year?
That's a great question. Would you like to answer that?
Yes. So one of our most frequently asked questions lately is expanding hours. As you know, pre-pandemic, we were open 9 to 9 on weekdays and 9 to 5 on both Saturday and Sunday. Right now, we're open 9 to 9 Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 5 Thursday and Friday, and Saturday, and then only 12 to 5 on Sunday. So right now, that seems to be a pretty comfortable spot, but we have planned internally to potentially expand to either full Sunday hours or increased evening hours sometime in the third quarter, based on the feedback from the community survey. So one of the questions, we ask a lot of questions about when you like to use this space, and that's really important feedback to us. So if you spend a little time with that, we want to make sure we can meet you where you are.
Okay, well, I think that we are going to wrap things up here. We want to thank you all so much for taking time to watch this live stream in real life, or maybe you're watching it after the fact. Again, we're going to keep an eye on the comments on YouTube and on Facebook, and we'll follow up with folks if there's anything that you need more information about, or any questions, all of that. Again, we are so appreciative for all of you in our community, and we look forward to seeing you in the space. Take care.